But now that the Israelis don't bomb the Nile Valley anymore, do you think this has something to do with the increase of the Russian help to Egypt?
Well, you know, the Soviet help to us was going on continuously in order to face the Israeli threats. And we were trying to strengthen our armed forces in order to face the hostile activities of the Israelis. Well, today I can say that we are stronger than 2 months ago, than 6 months ago.
Are there Russian pilots in Egypt?
Well, you know, we have Russian advisors. This began by the beginning of '68. Pilots for all arms, including the Air Force.
How many Russian advisors are there in Egypt now?
Well, I could not tell you the number. It is not a military secret. Anybody can have a deduction about that. But it is not a big number as they publish in the American newspapers.
Has the number increased during the latest 2 months?
You know, we were always receiving new advisors for new equipment.
This new equipment, is that the SAM-3 missiles?
Well, I cannot tell you about that because if I tell you, I will be telling the Israelis too.
Have the Russian pilots been training together with Egyptian pilots in the air?
Well, you know, we have Russian pilots to train our pilots. So,
yes, I'm asking because the Israelis say they have picked up the voices of Russian pilots.
These voices of the Russian pilots are not new here. These voices were going on now for the 3rd year.
Will you ask for MiG-23s or have you asked for these planes?
No, we haven't asked for the MiG-23s.
Will you do it if the Israelis attack the new missile sites?
I think it will be difficult for them to attack the new sites.
You have formally said that Egypt are in need of pilots. When do you think that Egypt can match Israel in pilots?
Well, this is a very complicated question because the Israelis have 3 pilots for each aeroplane. So by that they could be able to use the aeroplane 3 times at 3 airplanes because of the pilots. We could not match them in that at all. That's why they have air supremacy all over the Middle East because they attack by their airplanes Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt in one time.
Mr. President, who operates the new SAM-3 missiles? Egyptian soldiers or Russian soldiers?
We haven't said anything about the new SAM-3 missiles.
But are the Russian soldiers at the new missiles, let's not call them SAM-3, but then at the new missile?
Well, you know, we have Russian technicians, Russian advisors. That's what we have here, according to an agreement with the Soviet Union, as I told you, which took place 2 years ago.
You said to Eric Rouleau of Le Monde recently that Egypt is becoming more and more dependent on the Soviet Union. How much influence has the Russians in Cairo today?
Well, something was said about the Sovietization of Egypt, influence of Cairo. There is no pressure from the Soviet Union. There was no pressure at all. The pressure was always from us against the Soviet Union in order to supply us with the new arms. And when we say that we are dependent on the Soviet Union because they were the only country which agreed to give us arms to face the Israeli aggression and to defend our country.
But that means that you're not at all politically dependent on the Russians.
No, we are not dependent on them politically. And they don't ask us anything politically.
But don't they try to give you advice?
You know, we ask them to give us advice. That's why we have their advisors with us here in the army. You know, after the defeat of '67, we realized that the Israelis were equipped with the new equipment which we didn't have by that time. So we were in need of the Soviet advisors to help us to have new equipment for our army and to train our troops.
Do you agree with the Soviet Union in every political matter? Are there a unity of opinions?
Between us and the
Yes.
Well, against colonialism, of course, we have the same ideas. Well, about the social systems, we are different, of course. They are a communist country. We are trying to be a socialist country.
But what about the attitude toward solving the Middle Eastern problems?
The attitude of whom?
Of the Soviet Union.
Well, of course, as you know, and it is well known that the Soviets don't agree about giving up any piece of the land to the aggressors.
In your May Day speech recently, you said that U.S. relations will be destroyed for decades, if not centuries, if the U.S. don't persuade Israel to leave the occupied territories or stop the help. Do you contemplate any specific actions?
Well, I want to tell you why I have said so. I have said so because the United States have supplied Israel with a big number of aeroplanes to be used against us. This means that they support Israel to continue occupying our territory. So we are not only facing the Israelis, we are facing the Israelis and the Americans behind them. The Americans, because of their political support, because of their economical support, and because of their military supplies. So when they speak about balance of power in this area, they mean the complete supremacy of the Israelis and the right of the Israelis to raid our cities. So if the United States continue supplying Israel with phantoms and with bombers to attack us, we have to take some action in connection with that.
Which actions?
Well, we have no plans for that. We don't have detailed plans. We are consulting the other Arab countries and studying the whole question, and we are waiting the answer of the United States.
The biggest U.S. interests in the Middle East are the oil.
Yes.
Do you think an oil boycott would be a mean?
It is not only the oil, but their being here is also a big interest.
Has Mr. Nixon replied to your appeal?
No, there was no answer. They said that they are studying it.
If the U.S. continues to help Israel, the military means, for instance, Phantoms, the Skyhawks, will you then ask the Soviet Union for more weapons?
Well, of course, we don't have any other solution. We have to defend our country.
May I change to the 4 power talks about solving the Middle Eastern crisis? Would you accept the solution if they found one?
Well, of course, this solution depends about our rights to regain our occupied territory and the rights of the Arabs of Palestine.
But if there was a solution, and for instance Egypt and Jordan agreed to it, what about the Syrians, for instance, and the Palestinians?
Well, really it will depend on the nature of the solution.
But Syria has not accepted the Security Council resolution.
Yes, because they thought from the beginning that the Israelis will not accept the resolution. They were right in their point of view.
But the Palestinians say that they will not accept the state of Israel.
Yeah, they said that they will not accept state based on Judaism, on racial discrimination. And that's why they say that they want a democratic country for all religions.
But the Israelis won't give up their state based on Judaism. So the Palestinians will have to continue the fight for
Yes, but the Palestinians, according to the United Nations Security Council resolutions, they have the right to return back to their homes and their country.
But doesn't this in a way mean if Israel won't accept that the Palestinians will have to continue the fighting?
What will be the other alternative for the Palestinians?
No, I understand this, but then there won't be peace, even if Jordan and Egypt accept it.
Yes, but when we speak about peace, we must know the real interpretation of peace. Why this problem continued on for 22 years. On 48, the Israelis occupied parts of the Arab part of Palestine and refused, after the armistice, to take back the refugees. That's why the problem continued. If there is a solution about the Palestinian rights, if there is a resolution about the refugee problem, there will be no problem after that, and by that there will be peace.
Do you favor the erection of a Palestinian state?
Well, we haven't thought about that because part of Palestine was a part of Jordan, and I think it is up to Palestinians to decide that, and to the King of Jordan, not to me.
May I at last ask you a personal question? You have now been in power for nearly 18 years, and you have said after the 67 war that the revolution is not the monopoly of one generation. When do you intend to leave office in order to lead young people?
Well, you know, I promised after the aggression on 67 that I will continue as a president until the complete withdrawal of the Israeli forces from the Arab territory. After that, there will be new elections. But I don't have detailed plans for that time.
No. But when do you think that you'll be able to compel the Israelis to withdraw?
Well, you asked me this question before. I could not give you a really detailed answer about that.
But what is your estimation of the situation? Will the summer be hot?
Well, you know, the newspapers and the newspapermen always speak about hot summer, hot spring. I don't think we have to think about it like that.
No, but I think that there was a statement from the Egyptian government recently that they have now taken the military initiative along the canal.
You know, because the initiative was always in the hands of Israel. Now it is sometimes in our hands. During the last few weeks it was in our hands. We can take offensive actions, but the Israelis also have the initiative. Today they attacked Lebanon. What's the difference between Lebanon and Egypt? There is no difference. Arab people are killed there and Arab people are killed here.
Do you see any solution to the tragic situation?
Well, the only solution is the implementation of the United Nations resolution of November 1967. The withdrawal of the Israeli forces, the solving the problem of the refugees, the rights of the Arabs of Palestine, and then the other arrangements for peace.
Do you still have a hope?